I really notice how much red pill men contradict themselves, like constantly. One of the biggest contradictions is how much shit they talk about single mothers and how much shit they talk about women in general, how crazy they think women are and how disconnected from reality they think women are and how bad at decision making they think women are, like so much so they think that men need to make all their decisions for them. But those very same men abandon their kids and leave the children to be raised by these crazy ass women that are terrible at making decisions. I am like very shocked that they don't see how crazy that looks and sounds. And the very same men that will abandon their children are also the very same men that get up on the internet and talk about how important it is to have children.
It's because most of those men who created red pill content and probably who audience of those creators, most of those boys come from the same household, probably single parent household or some sort of destructive household. I also wanted very much to talk about new movie Inside the Manosphere. First of all, a lot of people tell that it's mommy's issues, that all of those boys has some issues with the mom. But in reality, I think the real problem there is the daddy issues. Nobody talking that all of those boys or most of those boys come from destructive household which was created by their father, because most of those boys never had very decent father figure in their household, and that's why all of those boys who creating that type of content who consuming that type of content, most of them come from destructive household, or they didn't have very decent father figure, very responsible father figure in their household, and they have no idea what it really means to be a man, be the provider, be somebody who carrying the household, what it really means to be the man. And they're looking for that father figure which was absent in their household. They're looking somewhere outside, and they founding those red pill creators who most of the time just exposing their trauma from their destructive household. Andrew Tate, his parents were divorced when he was 8 or 10 years old. He come from the single parent household. Another dude who do OF, he was raised by single mother. Another one, he come from destructive household when his mother have to burn to the ground a couple of times houses to get money from insurances to family to survive. What kind of father figure is in this household? What the mother have to do that to her own children, to her own houses? Most of those boys never had very good father figure in their household. And they think they created image and illusion that if you're gonna have a lot of money, if you're gonna have like nice cars, escort looking girls, if you're gonna be physically fit and gonna attract the women and gonna make a lot of money, that's what means to be the real man. In reality, they have no idea what it really means because they not grow up in the environment where they have that father figure, solid man figure who would show them what it really means to be the man. And another dude actually come from the Muslim family. And Muslim countries, they have radical patriarch, and he's telling everybody, I would like to have few wives. That's exactly when he's spreading you to his religious cultural agenda of the family which he is coming from, because he's probably second generation of the immigrant from Muslim country, and his real name just telling us who he really is. Doesn't mean he come from destructive household, but he come from the very specific culture, and he's spreading his very specific culture on the Western world. They don't have really mother issue. That's not mommy issue. That's daddy issues. But they cannot accept that problem here is the man, or a patriarchal society is the problem. They're more pushing that patriarchal or radical patriarchal agenda. They think that patriarchal agenda gonna fix everything, when in reality that patriarchal agenda actually destroy the mothers, destroy the household, destroy the children, destroy the marriages. But they think it's feminism destroying that, when in reality, no, it's just patriarchal society who created idea for the man, but he can just use everybody. He can do whatever he wants. He wants to just make a kids. He wants to just change the women and just leave and do whatever he wants. That's absolutely destructive patriarchal society, which is not make men responsible. That those boys not teaching the young boys be responsible, the father figure, because they never had that in their household. Of course, maybe they also have some sort of mama issues because they judge mom because she left, and not tolerate probably their shitty fathers. And they probably subconsciously somehow hate their mother, but they cannot hate that mother. That's why they reflect that hate on other women. And also subconsciously, probably they judge their mother for choosing the wrong man, for choosing wrong husband and wrong father for them. And also there is a lot of insecurities that if they're gonna behave like their fathers, but they know subconsciously and they behave that kind of way, the women gonna leave them. They're very afraid of intimacy. They're very afraid to fall in love. They're very afraid to have very deep connection with the women. They just use women as a tool, as a service, or as a function, and they don't want to see, they're afraid to see the real human being inside the woman because they're afraid she's gonna leave him and gonna left him brokenhearted, how his mother did to his father. All of that red pill guys spreading their own trauma instead to go to therapy, instead to go to psychologist and work on their childhood trauma, being abandoned by their father, or have anger on their mother for choosing not the right man to be the father figure for them. They're spreading that trauma on young boys who probably have the same issue. And instead to solve that issue and kind of show them to the boys how that problem can be solved, but it can be solved through the healing, through the inner work with your wounds and your traumas. Instead, they creating all of that agenda which they think somehow gonna solve their inner problems. When in reality, it's just traumas since childhood, which is actually caused their fathers, but they cannot accept that.